Alright guys, it's time to check out the latest episode of the IAE show. A pretty good episode, the previous one. I know I did not react to the entire one because of personal issues. Today I just woke up, I got my fresh coffee, right there, and we are going to check out what this episode is about. Looks like today is Mirai and MISC Day. Hopefully we're going to have a heavy fighter that they're going to be talking about. Let's go. Oh, there we go. Those engines. Cool music. Is it Jax? Oh, it is! Who's that? Archimel Stormwalker. And Jimmy! Alright.
Amazing.
And we got a Star Citizen commercial as well. Perfectly placed Star Citizen commercial.
Up next, an old favourite from the show floor.
The MISC Prospector is the most popular single-operator mining vehicle in the UAE, capable of breaking and gathering 32 SCU of resources without the need for additional staff and investment, like other offerings from Argo and its competitors. With fully customizable performance and a range of upgradable mining
I just wish it had a bigger capacity.
The MISC Prospector is crafted for miners who mean business. Fitted with numerous quality-of-life features that make extended excursions a breeze, along with hardy defenses against smaller aggressors, this craft is built to handle the demands of deep space resource gathering.
Yeah, but as I said, Iran, you can always put a bigger bag of ore, right, from the mall. Yes, but I wish that we could buy them. I mean, I think we can buy them, by the way. We can. But I wish that we could directly outfit them. Yeah, I did notice that in 4.0 we can buy them. Can we also do that in 3.20, 4.3? Anyway, it needs to be a bit more convenient. That's what I mean.
Its iconic metallic blue MISC styling speaks volumes, telling the verse you're a dedicated tradesperson focused on success in every venture. The Prospector, like the MISC Fortune and every offering from the MISC line of industrial vehicles, blends form and function into practical prosperity.
There you go. They said it. The MISC Fortune. Did you hear that? MISC Fortune.
And are available for perusal on this year's IAE show floor.
But what
We
is the
return
MISC
now
Fortune?
to the IAE show, brought to you from New Babbage, site of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and your guide to the future of spacecraft and vehicles in the verse. Today's topic, Capital Combat, with Rich Tyra, John Crew, and Jared Huckabee. Stay tuned, it's the IAE show, and it starts right now.
I wish we could know a little bit more about the Mirai Guardian, right? I mean, we saw Jax, that's awesome, right? That always makes me happy. Wish we could hear him as well. But I want to know more about this ship, right? What do you guys think?
All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming back. We're here for part 2 of our discussion on the life of spaceships and Star Citizen. I want to follow up on something, Rich, that you kind of hinted at in part 1. You mentioned the Squadron 42 demo several times and this experience that was being built at. It's not just a cinematic thing for the start of the show. It's actually seems to be reflective of this capital warfare experience that we're attempting to build here.
And we are going to try this tomorrow, by the way. 24 hours after posting this video, guys, there will be an event with the Red Club. We will be saving Stanton with a Polaris, a crewed Polaris with a squadron of fighters, hopefully, in the hangar. So join us, guys. You are all welcome to be part of this experience. Hopefully, it's going to be awesome. 24 hours. The Red Club Save Stanton, guys, will be waiting for you. All right, let's keep it up.
So I want to ask you outright, how is capital warfare supposed to work? What are we building towards, and why should folks be excited?
I think the first thing to sort of approach is it shouldn't just be the same gameplay as small ships, just scaled up. It needs to be, we talked about progression, it should be a progression of gameplay. So you can't just turn up, lob 50 torpedoes at a ship, press the I win button and go on. You've got to remove those defenses layer by layer. So capital ships have multiple defense. Obviously, they have turrets on them for shooting ships.
They're going to have
also
the point defense turrets now?
PDCs
Yes.
for disabling closer targets such as missiles and torpedoes. And then they have physicalized shield emitters, which is what you saw in the demo where Cal Mason sort of kites a Vandal ship into it. So you need to take all those things out in progression to stand a chance against a capital ship.
So
Nice. So yeah, it's not just shoot it and it eventually will blow up, right? It's much more complicated than that.
not just a brute force thing. I know a lot of folks are imagining just coming in with an A2 and dropping a Moab on top of an Idris or something like this. It sounds like there's a puzzle to be solved here. Is that how you would say it, Rich?
Ultimately, capital ship warfare should be a puzzle that you have to figure out. If you actually watch that cinematic for the squadron demo, you'll notice that one of the lines is, "Hey Cal, I don't think your weapons are large enough to be able to take out that shield emitter, or that shield Jenny, as they say." And he says, "You may be right." And that is actually true. You shouldn't be able to turn up with
what? Yeah.
small ships and small caliber weapons against a huge capital ship. And it's what we touched on in part 1 in terms of the physicalized nature of the damage.
Wait a second. So that means that what we have in Arena Commander is wrong then, because there's like, if you do Pirate Swarm in Arena Commander, at the end you have a huge swarm of smaller fighters taking down the Didris. So they're saying that this should not be happening.
If I fire a small caliber pistol at tank, it's not going to do much. The reason why we have like an Ares or a Retaliator is to allow you to soften up the capital ship shield so that you can actually then get access to the shield emitters and the PDCs and the weapons that are actually keeping your fighters away.
And I think that you can target them, with the precision targeting mode, right? So that's something that's possible to do from outside of the ship, although it would be much better to board the ship.
And the way that the shield faces work is that they're underpinned by physicalized shield emitters, which are then connected to the core shield generator, or in large capital ships might have multiple shield generators. So ultimately, your first foray should be like, okay, which shield face are we going to try and soften up and dampen to weaken it?
Yes, right, because there's 4 of them, so you may decide to have a board, port, starboard, or maybe the back or the front. Or usually the back is a better idea than the front, because the front's got some big guns usually. But yeah, that's usually what we were doing when we were taking down those big ships.
To be able to then send in our a squad of fighters to be able to target certain shield emitters, another squad to be able to target the PDCs, or in case if you're taking a much larger ship, like a Javelin size, which will have flaks. So you'll have to basically figure out, okay, this group or this squadron will take on this squadron will take on this, and this is where the hologlobe comes in terms of you're the admiral of the fleet. You're going, okay, right, I'm assigning you this target, and then if you're a fighter, you're going to then receive markers. And then obviously you're going to be connected.
Oh,
to
that's
say, okay,
so cool.
Go now, I want you to attack now, because you need to have a coordinated alpha strike.
So the Admiral with the hologlobe will be able to give the markers to the squadron. That is very cool. But we need to have like a complete squadron gameplay, which we don't have. We have parties, but parties not strong enough. They need to take it further with actual squadron gameplay. But that's basically what they announced here, and eventually it will happen.
If you just drip feed your damage over time, the capital ship will just be able to absorb it. So this is where you need to be able to go, okay, what's my tactics, what's my high-level strategy? And then once you've taken out the PDCs and you've taken down a shield phase, that's when you've got essentially 2 options. One option will be to board. So you'll be able to then use our hacking gameplay, and then obviously you'll have to fight your way through to the bridge to be able to take over it.
Oh man, I was hoping that we could just blast the door, so we're gonna have to hack the door instead of blasting.
Or the other side is then you just, if your mission is to just destroy this ship, if you've taken down those layers of defenses like John says, that's where you then send in the torpedoes. So capital ship gameplay is again planned to utilize all the different roles of the different ships that we've made over the years, and it should be a significant challenge to be able to take out one of those larger ships.
Let's paint a picture here. What's one?
And I've seen that already in the verse where we had some Polaris versus Polaris fights. If some dude in the Polaris was trying to ram us the whole time, didn't do anything because the Polaris got such big shields. In the end, he ended up damaging his own ship doing that.
Capital engagement supposed to be?
Well, let's just use save the Idris event,
okay.
If you want to go through.
Yeah, so realistically, when you're coming up to it, first thing you should be doing is scanning it so you know what you're going up against. You want to do a scan on it to work out where are its shield emitters. So then you can then plan, like we want to take the right-hand side shield emitter down. So we'll mark that as a target, give it to that group.
You might be sending in a terrapin or a forward ship to be able to get scan data that then relays that back.
So a scout ship, right? Terrapin, good idea to send Terrapin because that ship's very durable. So there we go. We got some use for the Terrapin, but it's not a fast ship. You want to send a scout, you may want to send something fast like an M50, for example.
To you on the Polaris and your hologlobe, to be able to go, okay, now I've got some information to work with. How do I then approach it from there?
Yeah, because one capital versus another capital is probably the worst scenario if it's literally two single capitals. They need their fleets to reach their maximum potential. So you should be bringing these support ships with you. So yeah, you've scanned it, you've identified your point where you're going to be attacking, you assign a group of fighters from your ship or from your fleet, take away their fighters, try and attack their turrets, and then you run another group to sort of bring down those shield emitters. The majority of them will be under the skin, so you need to scan to find their locations and then target them specifically.
We'll try to do that tomorrow.
Damage penetration.
Precision targeting, as we should say.
So again, things like the two starfighters are great for this role. So you have the Inferno, the ballistics will penetrate through, damage it. The Iron, great to bring the shields down to allow those ballistics to go even easier to the hull.
You've got to take out the PDCs as well.
Yep, PDCs as well.
So the PDCs won't just attack missiles and torpedoes, they will also attack other small objects.
Like fighters?
And so we need to make sure that you've created a safe zone or an entryway and you're punched through those defenses, and then you've got your options of either boarding or destruction.
I say we put in 3 Polaris against the Polaris, or 3 Polaris against the Nidris, right?
Depending on what your objective is.
Bring even more capital ships.
Fighter, just taking down the PDCs.
Absolutely, like light fighter, heavy fighter. But you won't just be able to penetrate the shields on a capital ship because they'll be so heavy. So you'll need to use relevant weapon rate. That's where really the capital ship main weapons come in, because they're the ones that are actually doing the main damage on the shields to be able to soften it up,
that's what I'm
to
talking
allow
about.
their fighters and support ships.
So that's where you have the importance of a fully crewed ship that can fully take advantage of all the weaponry available.
Pull up and just try and out DPS it. I mean, you can, but you're rolling the dice. You know, is my ship, capital ship, going to be better than your capital ship? Am I going to be able to maneuver it well? Because that's the one thing to discuss about shield emitters. Right now, you have a shield generator that kind of creates a bubble, and we say, okay, this is this face, right face, left wing.
He's right, maneuvering the ship well. Flying a capital ship is hard. That's why I don't like flying my Polaris. I prefer to have a dedicated pilot as well. It's super difficult.
And if you look at the wing, if you shoot the wing from the front and it hits the front of the wing, we just automatically work out like, okay, is that the front face or is that the left face? And for the player, that's not super obvious. So you want to be in understanding like, okay, well, the shield actually hugs the ship. So we need to know, well, actually, that's the left face. So you as a player can go, right, that's what we're targeting, that's what we need to bring down. Because otherwise, these shield generators are so powerful on capital ships, they'll just be coming back.
And throughout all of that, we've sort of assumed that the target ship is just sat there.
Absolutely.
You have the opposite, like you're on the ship.
The defender is spinning the ship around, trying to put trying to put their stronger side towards the attack.
You're seeing all this fire coming to this side, so you're now.
Yeah, that's something that we do sometimes, right? Just you turn the ship around so that you have your best shields toward the attacker. Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to maneuver yourself to avoid that. Counter players, they're trying to take out your thrusters to stop you maneuvering. So it is a big puzzle.
So shields down, PDCs cleared. And that's where this can go from a ship versus ship to a combined arms thing, which is really what's most exciting to me. This idea that you now have to send troops over to breach, and board the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you might have to defend against being boarded. So if you're going up against another player and they've got a Polaris and you've got a Polaris, or when we add the Idris into the game and you're coming up, then you're going to have different mixes of gameplay when you're
absolutely. Imagine you're opening your hangar to have your boarding party, and then some enemy just sneak in while you're opening your hangar. These things could be happening too.
Whether it's resources, station warfare, all the things that we've discussed previously. We've not really got to end game yet. We're still really at mid game. End game is fleet battles and been able to utilize these large ships, and then that comes back to TTD if you do lose, or you need salvage, or you need repair, or you need to rescue the people that are still on the ship.
For fleet battle, we need dynamic server meshing for fleet battle. We're not. I mean, we need that, and we need orcs to be a bit larger too. I mean, with the Iraq Club, just crewing one ship is already hard enough, right?
These types of battles, these types of combat add and are underpinned by so much more gameplay than what we've just discussed today. And I think that's where it starts to connect the loops.
All right, so that's just a little bit about capital warfare. Thank you so much for sharing. Our viewers are going to be incredibly excited about that. The Polaris obviously makes its debut at this year's IAE, and while these systems are still in development and will continue to come out in 2025 and beyond, just having this vision intact here, people will be able to judge decisions that come in subsequent releases against the direction that we're going to. So thank you so much. Up next, I have to have a very uncomfortable conversation with Rich. He's a player in my D&D group, and he's been a little too min-maxy. So, Rich, let's talk about this, shall we?
What?
Absolutely.
The classic returns.
So today on Lore Makers, we're going to talk about Henry Brown, an exciting inventor who, in 1886, filed a patent for one of the most exciting inventions of all time, the file cabinet.
So it turns out that in North America, most of the melons that people think are cantaloupes are actually...
Well, what are they talking about? I mean, last time there was like a funny segment with with Mark Aben. What is this?
Actually a different varietal of muskmelons.
With the story of the star system with the richest history in the UEE.
It started out as a private detective agency called Pinkertons, and not many people know this, but the Pinkertons actually became the foundation for the US Secret Service.
And so then in order to sell more dictionaries, they changed a lot of the spellings of the word from the original British English into new American spellings.
The system they said couldn't be covered in just one episode.
In Arthurian legend, the wizard Merlin actually had an owl named Archimedes.
And so then with the radiation powering its core, it sort of rose out of the ocean and started destroying the city.
I think they're just making fun of
fathers,
themselves.
They never intended for us to have Wi-Fi.
Now, the Colonel wasn't actually from Kentucky.
This summer, the Lore Makers return.
And that is how you get out of jury duty.
And so they needed a product that would leave their hair silky and smooth. That was called conditioner.
With a new 365-part series.
So they were never actually lost. The island was purgatory.
Since he was coming from a comedic background, not a lot of people
Cool
thought Michael
hair.
Keaton could pull off the part.
Lore Makers Guide to the Galaxy. Welcome to Earth Edition. Nothing you want to know, everything you need to know.
So at the end of the day, down to brass tacks, there is nothing better than a breakfast burrito. I don't care what the breakfast taco lobby says.
And so then they looked at the baby and they said, your name will be Chris.
Chris.
The RS.
It all comes back to Chris Roberts. All right, what are we looking at? Is this QA?
RSI Polaris arrives on day 5 of this year's expo. And instead of asking those who built it what it's supposed to be like, we went to the folks who know these vehicles inside and out. The testers dedicated to putting power through its paces. We return now to the premiere of Pew Pew with the Polaris, presently in progress.
The torpedoes are very interesting anyway. They're bespoke for the ship.
It's the first time?
Yeah, first time S10.
But they are massive.
Yes.
I think they do.
Yeah, so you guys have been in the room, where the torpedo room. They're like as big as people. They're extremely massive indeed, and you can see them from very far away. I was like several kilometers away when my crew was shooting at another Polaris. I was in the Scorpius, and I could see the projectile going to the other Polaris.
Twice the damage of a
Super big.
Cessna, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Move slow, but they're cool.
Yeah.
Especially when they hit.
They're big, slow missiles.
Might need changing,
There
but we
you
did
go.
do jousting with it during the PT. And
Jousting
yeah, well, they were just coming at each other and you just see them fire off, and it's awesome. It's good for a battle, for sure.
All at once,
you have four
they
tubes.
come one after.
Yeah, they're slightly staggered, so you get like 1, 2, 3, but there are 4 separate tubes. It's
Oh
not like when you
man,
have it
that
on the
looks
telly
so
when you
cool. Look
have
at
it on the
how they're
Eclipse.
coming
means you
out of
get
the
to
Polaris
appreciate
here.
every
That's
single
super
one.
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, you get 28 of them,
Yeah.
which is...
That's a lot. Yeah.
You can do a lot of damage in a Polaris. Let's just put it that way.
With 28 top.
Hey, that's why we got those
And
ships.
the
They're
revolving.
Please, CIG, don't nerf the Polaris. Every time they nerf their ships, right?
Barrel that they're in. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can see them when you're in the torpedo room. You can like see them get loaded into the racks.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's like glass in front of it. Looks really sick when the torpedo like rolls into it.
The chin
it
turret on
turret?
the front, they now have bespoke guns on.
Yeah.
They're now, I think, size 6, when they were previously size 5.
Oh,
but
the
they're
animation
completely
is so
bespoke
cool.
To the Polaris. We basically made it as big as we could so that you could still see out of it.
Whoa.
And the top man turret, I think, are now quad size 4.
Are they repeaters?
Yeah, they're laser.
Is it the ones
and
on the side that have cannons?
The chin turret is ballistic.
You also have 2 remote turrets.
Yeah, one of them is just like repeaters and one of them is missiles at the back.
Which you get plenty of ammo for.
Yeah, those are your 2 support seats in the bridge as well. So you're like in the like command
Wow,
deck.
yeah, how many
I
missiles
think
are
it's
there?
the most guns we have on any ship at the minute.
Is it not challenging like with the Hammerhead?
The Hammerhead is going to be close, I think,
Yeah.
but it's a similar experience, but with bigger guns.
Wow, so it has more guns and they're bigger. That's what I'm talking about.
If you have a full crew,
Yeah.
you're going to do an awful lot of damage.
Which we hope to have in 24 hours, by the way. Join the Red Club. We're going to have an amazing time saving Stanton in the Polaris.
Also make use of them when you got smaller ships swarming around.
Yeah, 100%.
Having all the turrets around the ship really helps with that. Not that they can do much damage to you anyway, because obviously
True.
strong shields on the ship.
It's going to be probably the strongest fighting ship we've got,
Yeah,
like
for
combat ship we've got. They're pretty
Oh,
awesome.
F8?
It essentially means
Ooh.
if you're getting fired by missiles, the guys that you've got on your turrets don't have to worry about them. You can
Yeah.
sort of leave those to the PDCs and let the
That
people
is
in
so
turrets
cool.
shoot the actual ships that are shooting you.
Yeah. Won't hit everything, but you've still got
Well, the
usual,
PTCs shoot the little fighters as well.
It's just
We've got
that
capital
extra buffer.
meshes as well,
Oh, right.
which are massive.
Yes, I've seen the smoke screen that comes out.
Yeah, and you can stack them because they're bigger anyway. If you stack a few of the flares up and then set them off at
There you
once,
go,
it's like a
fireworks.
display.
We'll be when we save Stanton, we'll be doing some fireworks with the countermeasures.
But yeah, the PDCs, when we did the first like implementation of it, and I was testing it with Chris Danks, who's the designer, and like
Oh, wait. His name is Chris Tanks. So awesome name.
seeing the
Chris
first time
Tanks.
a missile locks, and then they immediately like sit up, turn, and then as it hits, they start firing. It's pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
They do only work if a missile is locked on. So if someone has missile lock, then the PDCs will work because that's how they function. But if someone's just
Oh, so if you do like blunt fire, then it's not gonna be doing.
dumbfire missiles on top of it,
Dumbfire,
it's like they won't see it.
We'll have to get really good at dumbfire missiles.
They might have to.
I mean, it's a big target, so I wouldn't worry too much.
So yeah, guys, that's our review of the RSI Polaris. We hope you guys enjoyed. Wait, guys, we need to talk about all the 6 toilets.
Oh no, don't. See you next time. All right. Well, there's gonna be more of those. Apparently, this week we'll see what's coming up in the next episode of this weekend's Inside Star Citizen. Too bad the Mirai Guardian is not for sale, but I guess it's coming with 4.0. That is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.